The past being the experience, the memory. And in that past there is safety, security. I hope you're watching all this in yourself. And that responds immediately. The past always is responding. And to delay the response of the past when you meet a challenge, so that there is an interval between the challenge and the response, is to end the image. If this does not take place, we'll always be living in the past. And we are the past. And there is no freedom in the past. So that is our life. A constant battle. The past moving through the present to the future. The past modified by the present, moving into the future, still modified, but it is still the movement of the past. That again is fairly clear. Now, as long as this movement exists, man can never be free. And therefore he must always be in conflict, in sorrow, in confusion, in misery. So the question is whether that past can be delayed. So that there is not immediate formation of an image. Unless you do it in daily life, what is being said is of no importance whatsoever. So we have not only to look at what life is, this travail, the endless confusion and misery, and the escape from that into some religious superstition, into a belief of God or no God, into the worship of the state, of a nation, into several forms of amusements, or an escape into neuroticism. Because neuroticism offers an extraordinary sense of security. When the world is so confused, the world being you are so confused, as you find it not being able to solve it, you must escape from it. And you escape from it in some form of neuroticism. The man who believes is neurotic. Sorry to say it. The man who worships an image is neurotic. The man who believes. These are all neuroticism in which there is great safety. And that doesn't bring about a radical revolution in oneself. So that is what we call living. And to change it, to bring a complete revolution in it, as we said, to observe it choicelessly, without any distortion of desire or of pleasure or fear, just to observe actually what you are. And because there is no escape, and what you see you don't name, but merely observe. Therefore you have the passion, the energy to observe, and in that observation there comes a tremendous change. And the next question is, what is love? Because that's part of our life. We talk a great deal about it. Love of God, love of humanity, love of the country, love of the wife and the husband, love of the family. And strangely, if you observe, with that love goes hatred too. You love your God and hate another's God. You love your nation, your family, you're against the other family, against the other nation. And now more and more throughout the world, love is associated with sex. We are not condemning, we are not judging, we are not evaluating, we are merely observing what is actually taking place. And that gives you tremendous energy if you know how to observe. So what is love? And what is compassion? The word compassion means passion for everybody, care for everybody, for everything, including the animals you kill to eat. So, first, let us look at what actually it is. Not what it should be, not color it, not make it something glorious, all the rest of the nonsense, but see what actually in daily life it is. Do we know what it means? Do you know what it means to love? Or do we know the pleasure and the desire that what pleasure, desire, which we call love? And of course, with it goes, with the pleasure, with the desire goes tenderness, care, affection, and so on. So is love pleasure, desire? And apparently, with most of us it is. One depends on one's wife. One loves one's wife, one's family. If you love your wife and the wife looks at somebody else and you depend on her, you are jealous, angry, frustrated, miserable, and ultimately the divorce court. And that's what you call love. And if the wife dies, you take on another. And in that, there is great dependency. So there is pleasure, desire, dependency. And you never are asked, why you depend? Why do you depend on another? Not on the technician. I'm not talking about the technician, the grocer, and all that. But the psychological dependence. If you look into it, you will see not only how lonely you are, deep down, lonely, frustrated, unhappy. And you do not know what to do with that, with this loneliness, with this isolation. Isolation, loneliness is a form of suicide. And so, not knowing what to do, you depend. And that dependence gives you great comfort, companionship. And when that comfort, companionship, that dependency is slightly altered, you get disturbed, miserable, angry, jealous, furious. And if you love, would you send your children to war? Would you have the kind of education that you have now? Just educate them technologically and nothing else. Help them to get a job, pass some footling examination, and the rest of the whole of existence, this marvelous life you neglect. You care for them till they are 5, so carefully, marvelously. And after that, you throw them to the wolves. And that's what you call love. And is it love? Where there is violence, there is hatred, there is antagonism. So what will you do? And within that is your virtue. Within that is your morality. And when you deny that morality, when you deny that virtue, then you are virtuous. That means seeing all the implications of what love is. You stand alone and therefore you are capable of loving. You know, you listen to this because that's the truth. And if you don't live it, truth becomes a poison. Because you hear something true, and if you neglect it, then that brings about another contradiction in life, and therefore more misery. So either you listen with your heart and with your complete mind, or you don't listen at all. Much better not to listen. But since you are here, you're listening, I hope. So, love is something that is not the opposite of anything. It is not the opposite of hate, not the opposite of violence. Even if you don't depend on anybody, live a most virtuous life, do immense social work, demonstrate up and down the street for the rest of your life. If you have no love, it has no value at all. And if you love, then you can do what you will. To a man that loves, there is no error. And if there is an error, a mistake, he corrects it immediately. Therefore, a man who loves has no jealousy, no remorse. To him there is no forgiveness, because there is not a moment in which the thing that has to be forgiven arises. You know, all this demands great investigation, great care, great attention. But you see, you're caught in the trap of modern society. And you have created that trap yourself. And when anybody points it out to you, you listen or disregard it. And so wars and hatred goes on. What is important is to listen to and see that the thing is changed radically. Then the other thing is death. I wonder how you consider death, what it means to you. Not a theory, actually what it means to you. Not a formula, not something that's going to come inevitably when either through an accident, through disease, or stupid old age. That is inevitable. That's what happens to everybody. Old age and the pretensions that go with the old age of trying to be young. And if you reject, deny all theories, all hope, please listen to this, all hope. Because hope means you're in despair. And being in despair, you look to something to give you hope. Whereas if you understood the nature of despair, why you are in despair, Have you ever looked at your despair? Say, why? Why does it exist? It exists because you are comparing yourself with somebody. It exists because you want to fulfill, become, be, achieve. You know, one of the strange things in life is we are conditioned by the word and the verb to be. By the verb to be. For in that verb, there is the past, the present, and the future. All the religious conditioning is based on that verb to be. And on that word, all heaven and hell, all the beliefs, all the saviors, success, all the is based on that. To find out whether human beings can live without that verb. That means no future. That means no past. And it doesn't mean living in the present. You don't know what it means to live with the present. To live in the present completely. You must know what the nature and the structure of the past is, which is yourself. Therefore, you must know yourself so completely, so that there is no hidden corner. Because yourself is the past. And that self thrives on the verb to be, to become, to achieve, to remember. And to find out what it means to live without that word. Psychologically, inwardly. And as we were saying, what does it mean, death? And why are we all so dreadfully frightened of it? Right through Asia, they believe in that thing called reincarnation. To incarnate again, next life. In that there is great hope. I don't know why, but there is great hope. And people go about talking about it, writing about it. Now, when you look what that is going to incarnate, what is it? Incarnate in the future. Not only the future next life as they believe, but also tomorrow. Incarnate tomorrow. What does that mean? The thing that incarnates, that is going to be reborn, what is it? All the past, all your misery, all your confusion, all that you are. Now, and the you here you use the word soul and so on, you think there is something permanent. Is there anything in life permanent? Or you would like to have something permanent?